Okay. Hari Om. Let's start with 3 Oms and Sahanavata. Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu mavid vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vristotram. Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshumilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Sri Gurave Namaha. Stavaram Jangamam Yaptam Yat Kinchit Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapi Yat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mamadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. So we are doing the Panchadashi, 3rd chapter now, and we completed slokas 11. Let's chant that sloka. Nano deham upakramya Nano deham upakramya Nidranandanta vastushu Nidranandanta vastushu Ma bhudatmatvamanyastu Ma bhudatmatvamanyastu Na kaschit anubhuyate Na kaschit anubhuyate. Together. Nano deham upakramya Nidranandanta vastushu Ma bhudatmatvamanyastu Na kaschit anubhuyate. So after discussing in this, it says Panchakosha Viveka. That means I am not of these 5 koshas. That is Panchakosham. That means I am innermost in the prakaras. First, in the 2nd chapter, he was looking about the whole world, and now he's turned inwards and looking at who am I. So what is this world has been analyzed in the 2nd chapter as Sat Swarupam, and I am Chit Swarupam. I am the conscious entity that was discussed in the 1st chapter. And now, how am I? Who am I going to? How am I? Or who am I? I had to say I am not this. I am not this. So what are these? Starting from the Panchakoshas, the Annamaya Kosha, then Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. I am not this. I am not this because I am conscious of that. whatever I am conscious of is different from that. I am a conscious entity. So subject is different from object. So I am rejecting all these koshas one by one. And then say, what is that? I am innermost, like in the temple you are going inner sanctum, inner prakara, one prakara, 5 prakaras, then you enter into the sanctum, sanctorium where Lord is. So that once you enter, and that's what is. So he is ihitam guhayam. He is not only panchakosha viveka, discriminating, and then now I had to discover that who is inside, and that is where the Lord is. That's why we in the South Indian temples they won't have electricity or anything in the Garbhagudi. They have a lamp all the time. That is started when the Kumbhabhishekam. That lamp continues all the way, and from that lamp only they do arati. Okay, and then they chant whatever in that arati you see the Lord. So arati is nothing but the vasanas are getting burned. In the burning of the vasanas, I see the Lord, innermost Lord. That's why Natatra Suryo Bhati. It's going to come that sloka here. So this Panchakosha Vilakshanam and Panchakosha Nihitam. Nihitatam is that who is inside all that is what is the Lord. That has been discussed up to slokas 10. Then what remains is the innermost one is there is the Atma. So there is an objection. Sir, Nanu, that means Nanu means there is an objection by a fellow. Says Deham upakramya nidrananantam vastushu. I can see up to starting from the body all the way to Anandamaya Kosha, I am not that, etc. Then I don't see anything else. So ma bhut atma tattvam manasyu. Now kaschid anubhita, I don't experience anything else beyond that. There are only these things I experience five. So I can't experience Atma. So how do you know there is an Atma? So there is nothing there. Once you go inside, that's called Sunyavada. Because I don't experience Atma, therefore it is not there. Because whatever I experience is there. That is the methodology of his argument. So, Sloka 12, how does he answer? Badham nidradaya sarve. Badam nidradaya sarve anubhuyante na cetaraha anubhuyante na cetaraha tadapyete nubhuyante yenam tam ko nivarayet. Enam tam ko nivaraye. Together. Badham nidradaya sarve anubhuyante na cetaraha tadapyete nubhuyante enam tam ko nivaraye. So Badham is you are right. What you say is right. You can only experience, it's Annamaya Kosha, therefore you are not Annamaya Kosha. You can experience Prana, then Manas, you know the intellect, you know the Anandam, because I know I am happy. So all those experiences are, you know, but you cannot experience yourself. You are correct. So in fact he endorses that, Badam, Nidra Adayaha Sarve Anubhuyante. All these things have been experienced. One by one, you have experienced all that. Nacha itaraha. Nothing else you can experience beyond this. Your body, mind from the internally, and the world, of course, is already analyzed before. Tada api ete anubhuyante yena tam ko nivarayet. Then he asks a question. Tata, so even then, even though you cannot experience yourself, I am something, then api ete anubhuyante, in what, because of what, you are experiencing all these things. I am not the body, I am not the body. There is someone who is there, who is experiencing the body and the Annamaya, Pranamaya, all those koshas you are experiencing. That who is the experiencer? There has to be some experiencer who is experiencing, and you cannot deny him. You cannot deny that who is experiencing all these. Because of all these things you are experiencing, but itself cannot be experienced. You're right, you cannot experience yourself, but that doesn't mean that you are not there, because you are there only you are able to experience all this. Therefore, your existence is automatically proved by stating that I don't experience anything else. Because even to say that I won't experience anything else, you have to be there. So a simple example is, it says if you go to is there anybody in the hall? Go there and say, there is nobody in the hall. If there is nobody else in the hall, how do we know? At least you should be there to say that there is nobody else in the hall. That means nobody else is there in the hall. When I say there is nobody in the hall, I mean nobody else is there other than me, the seer. Therefore, when I say I am experiencing all that and there is nothing else beyond that, when there is nothing else, I must be there to say even nothing else also. So that yena tam konemarayat, how can you say, how can you not deny the existence of that? So it is a rhetorical question. It says, therefore you can never deny yourself. You can deny anything else, but you cannot deny yourself. So in fact, that is the definition of real knowledge in the discussions we had in the Advaita list. It says, what is pramana? Pramana is the means of knowledge. So I know this, I know this, I know this. So what is the proof for that it is knowledge is real? So according to science, so what is the proof? If I propose a theory, proof is I had to prove it by an experiment. That means I had to have a collect data. That means validation of a proof depends upon the pratyaksha pramana. That means I validate its theory because I can establish this data, this data, this data that concurs with this theory. Therefore, I am validating that by pratyaksha pramana. But how can I validate my own existence by pratyaksha pramana? So I validate myself. There is no need for me to validate any pramana is required. So what is the proof for my existence, or what is the proof for real knowledge? Because that is the real knowledge. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. So that is the real knowledge. So what is the proof for it? It says, according to our Vedanta, pramana is anadigata abadita, that which cannot be negated is alone the truth. So truth is defined as that which cannot be known by any other way and that which cannot be negated by any other way. So I cannot negate myself by any way, because I have to be there to negate anything. Therefore I am the absolute truth, absolute knowledge of the Son myself. That's why it's called Jnanasvarupam. Okay. So this is being explained more and more in the few slokas here. Swayame vanubhutitvat vidyate nanubhavyata jnatu jnanantara bhavat Agneyo natva sattaya. Together. Swayame vanubhutitvat vidyate nanubhavyata jnatru-jnanantara bhavat agneyo natva sattaya. So swayam eva. So Atma being itself is anubhutitvat. It is the nature of its own as experience. I don't need another something to experience. Suppose I want to experience Atma. So if I had to bring another Atma to experience this Atma, then how do we know that Atma exists? That Atma has to be bring another Atma. So it becomes the infinite regress. So this buck has to stop there. So I am self-existent and self-conscious entity. So I don't need another light to see a light. I am illuminating light itself. I can light everything else, but I don't need another light to light me. And that is Swayam Jyoti also is going to mention. So Swayam eva anubhutitvat. So it is Atma being itself is anubhutitvat. It is of the nature of experience itself, because it's the nature of existence and it is nature of self-conscious. Anubhuti means it is the nature of self-conscious entity. So therefore, Anubhavyata na. Therefore, it is not an object of experience. It is being a self-existent and self-conscious entity, and it cannot become an object, because if it becomes an object, it becomes an inert. So I cannot be an object of anybody, let alone even myself. But all I can is, I can only objectify that which is an object or that which is inert, which also means I cannot be a subject, I cannot become an object for anything. So I want to know myself. So, but I cannot know myself as an object, because I cannot be an object of my knowledge also. Then how do I have to know? I have to recognize. It is only recognition or reanalyzation. That's why I realize it is a reanalyzation of what is my nature, because I take myself what I am not, and scripture tells me this is actually what you are. So I have to turn my attention to recognize who I am, because I think I have a wrong notions about myself. That's how I recognize. So it is jnatur jnanantara abhavat. So jnatu jnanantara, it is neither known nor it is a knowledge of something also. It is other than something that is jnatuhu, knower, and the known also. It is something because of which both knower and known are existing in the presence also. And that ajñeya, that cannot be known, at the same time, natu asattaya. So it is at the same time not non-existent. Don't say it is nothing is there. It is existing because its nature itself is existing, because I say I am there. So even in a pitch dark room, say, are you there? I say I am. So how do you know? So I don't need anything for me to light to shine myself, because I know I am there. Even if the whole world can say you are not there, I know I am there. So I cannot be negated, because to negate myself I have to be there. So therefore that which I, that self, that cannot be known as an object, because it is a very subject, and subject cannot become an object. So therefore ajñeya, it is ajñeya means it is not something that I can experience, and it is at the same time natu asattaya. Therefore it is not at the same time non-existent. So it is, don't say it is nothing there. It is in fact the whole thing. Okay? That's what is trying to arrive at. Why? Because its nature is of the nature of consciousness. I cannot be conscious of consciousness. So any analysis, so right now scientists are trying to find out what is consciousness. They can never find out, because when you say what is consciousness, they are objectifying it, and it's not an object. So once you objectify, it's no more conscious entity. Because the one who is investigating what is consciousness is conscious entity. So he has to turn inwards, and he cannot use the tools that are objective tools to analyze the subject. So science can never discover the consciousness by any process. Therefore Vedanta is the real science. That's why you have to analyze. It's not Vedanta, it's not a dogmatic statement. It is a statement that tells you, you are already that. What I am searching for, you are already. So you are searching for consciousness, but you are that. So seeker himself cannot be, unless he is a thought, I had to only understand it, that I am that consciousness. And here he is going to give an example of sugar and the sweetness. So when I want to make coffee sweet, I put sugar there, right? Of sugar or whatever. So if I had to use the quality of the sugar, the sweetness of the sugar, for me to make milk, coffee, anything else is sweet. Right? So I need that for the sweetness to gain, because the others don't have sweetness as their intrinsic nature. Therefore, they are getting a borrowed sweetness from additional sugar that I am putting in. Now, for sugar to be sweet, what should I add now? You don't need to add anything else. It is its nature itself. So if I try to, I want to add some sugar to make it sweet. So sugar is naturally sweet. Therefore, it is naturally of the nature of consciousness. And anything else I need this. But for it itself, it is self-shining and self. So those are the example that the Vidyaranya you're going to use now. Madhuryadi swabhavanam anyatra swagunarpinam swaswamsta darpanapeksha no na chastanya darpakam together madhuryadi swabhavanam anyatra swagunarpinam swasminsta darpanapeksha no na chastanya darpakam. So anyatra, for any other objects, is swaguna arpanam madhuryadi swabhavanam. So those swagunam, the one that has a madhuryam, that which has a sweetness, if for all other things it has to be added by adding or gaining or borrowing sweetness from other object, this is becoming sweet. So milk or a coffee and everything is becoming sweet by borrowing the property of the sweetness of sugar. Right? If sugar doesn't have a sweetness, then there is no point in adding that one. Right? So we add sugar to make it sweet because sugar has the property of sweetness. Therefore, for milk and other things, it is a borrowed thing that from the sugar. So anyatra saguna arpinam, for other things you have to add it. Swasmin, so it says, Swasmin tadarpanam apeksha, for one's own self, for sugar to become sweet, so what should I have to borrow from what? So essentially, so there is nothing else. Now, indeed, it's not required. Cha anyaha asti darpakam, so there is nothing else I need to be added for sugar to make it sweet. Sugar is naturally sweet, but for other things I have to add sugar. So that's the example. Similarly, you have to apply to this to Atma. So these are methodically, because people say, yes, I know I am conscious, now what should I do? So there's nothing to do, you have to realize, you have to be in that state. So I know I am Brahman, then what should I do? That's the end of the story. If I know Brahman, that's the end of the story. Case is closed. Why? Brahman means infinite. So, says, why do I need Vedanta? There was some show that was watching. Says, I am happy. Then why do I need Vedanta for? I'm already happy. Then in that case, there is no need Vedanta, because that's what we are searching for. We are not searching for Vedanta. We are searching for happiness only. But if you listen for some more time, he will tell you his problems really. Even though he's happy, but will come. Then only say that's the reason you need Vedanta. So Vedanta comes because I am searching for happiness. I am not searching for anything. I am searching for happiness. And Vedanta says you are searching where there is no need for you to search. That's what Vedanta will tell you. And that's what is essentially is. Because that is my Swaswarupam. Here Swarupam is from the point of consciousness, not from the point of Ananda. Here the discussion is. Okay, Sloka 15. I'm going, because we all know most of it, so I'm going a little arguments, so we know most of it, right? Arpakantara rahitchepi astvesham tat swabhavata ma bhutanubhavyatvam bodhatma tunahinyate together. Arpakantara rahitchepi astyesham tat swabhavata ma bhutanubhavyatvam bodhatma tunahinyate. So the argument is same. Arpaka antara. So if there is another lender of sweetness for this, rahitye, it's not there. If it is there, then we will end up, how does that another one got this sweetness? Then we have to bring a third one to add sugar to the sugar to the sugar, or sweetness to the sugar, and to that we have to another sweetness to sugar. Then it becomes infinite regress. So it has to be swarupam. So that's what is being emphasized. So there is no another lender of sweetness for the sugar. There is nobody else who is going to give sweetness to the sugar, because it is intrinsic nature. Yesham, that the sweetness is swabhavata asti. It is intrinsic nature is sweetness. It is there. That is swabhavam. So tatha, in the same way, anubhavyatvam, that Atma is also is experiencing, because of Atma only you are experiencing everything, but it is lending consciousness to everything for me to be conscious of. That's what it means. Just as sugar is lending sweetness to other things, for other things to become sweet, in the same way, consciousness is lending consciousness to the other objects for it to be for me to be conscious of. So that's how the perception is analyzed. Remember, the object, which is the existence of the object, has become a thought in the mind, and as an existence of thought, and I, consciousness, is lending that consciousness to the thought for me to be conscious of the existence of the thought. That's how the knowledge takes place. So, arpakantara rahi asti esham tat swabhavataha. So tatha anubhavyatvam. So Atma being object of knowledge, therefore it is not mahabhut, it is not to be known by any other way. It's not existent. It cannot be experienced. So it is bodhatma tanuhinyate. It is of the nature of the knowledge, nature of the consciousness, to indeed nahinyate, and therefore it cannot be negated. Nahinyate means here it cannot be destroyed, or it cannot be dismissed, because I have to be there to dismiss. So I cannot dismiss myself anytime. So I can dismiss the whole world of waking world, I can dismiss the whole dream world, I can dismiss the deep sleep world as I go from one state to the other state, but I cannot dismiss myself, and that's what is called I am in all the states, but different from all the three states, because at the same time I cannot say I am not there. And that I am, what my problem is, I am taking myself as this, that is my problem. I am. We don't stop there, but add something else which is not our nature. I am this body, this mind, this intellect. That's how we identify, and that's what our ego is. I am this, I am this. The whole biodata is only I am this, right? But I cannot be this. So whole biodata is a false, because I am identifying myself with this in the pages and pages of information which I am not. I am plus this. So plus this for transactions, but myself is I am pure consciousness. So that cannot be, this is hinyate, that cannot be dismissed or destroyed, because I am of the nature of consciousness, and consciousness cannot be destroyed, because I am the subject, and the subject cannot be destroyed, because I have to be there even to negate myself. So up to this, he is addressing the objection that was raised by somebody who says, if I cannot see, I can only see all this, but I cannot see myself. I can deny presence of God or presence of this, and all these Nastikas are only trying to deny because they cannot see. If God is there, show me. You cannot see the God, then how do you say it's a belief? So the one who is saying that there is no God is the one because of which he is saying that also. So that has to be understood also, because it's not an object for me to say this is the Atma, because this is not. Atma is a conscious entity. So then how do we know? That's what he is going to tell in the next sloka. So here the 16th sloka is a very important sloka of this, and whole Upanishads are summarized in this sloka. Swayam Jyotirbhavet Esha. Swayam Jyotirbhavet Esha. Purosmad Bhasate Khilat. Purosmad Bhasate Khilat. Tameva Bhantam Anveti. Tameva Bhantam Anveti. Tadbhasa Bhasyate Jagat. Tadbhasa Bhasyate Jagat. Together. Swayam Jyotir Bhavet Esha. Purosmad Bhasate Khilat. Tameva Bhantam Anveti. Tadbhasa bhasyate jagat. So, Eshaha, this Atma, Swayam Jyotihi, it is self-effulgent or self-conscious entity. So, therefore, it is of the nature of self-consciousness. And that means self-illuminating factor. Swayam Jyotihi, Jyotir Jyotihi, Swayam Jyotihi. And this Swayam Jyoti word, it's a whole thing comes from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It's called Swayam Jyoti Brahmana. So that is what is being brought in terms of explaining that it is Swayam Jyotir Bhavati Esham. And Asmat Akilat Puraha says Asmat Akila Puraha Bhasade. So this Swayam Jyoti, it is there before the shining of everything else. So I am there, which is experience or which is there even before I experience anything else in the world. So first thing in the morning, so I am already late, already 6 o'clock. All other things starts coming. Before anything comes, I am has to be there. That's why in the biblical statement, who are you? What should I say, who are you? All he can say is, I am that I am. Because there is nothing else you can add to it. I can only repeat saying I am, I am, I am. And there is nothing else to objectify I am something else. I am that I am only. That means I am self-existing. There is nothing else for me to say about myself. I am existent conscious entity that I am. So anybody who introduces anybody, he starts with I am only. Introductions of anything is, he starts with I am. Then he adds something who is not. Right? I am, this all adding things is only for transaction purposes. Just like I am gold, but I am a ring, I am a bangle, and for transactions that's okay. As long as I understand that it's only for transactional purposes, but in reality I am not that. My essential nature is Swayam Jyotihi, and I am there before anything else. So everybody has opinion about themselves, but opinion about I am, and then what can I have about I am? Nothing. I am pure existence and consciousness. But when I have opinion about myself, about the self, and everybody has theories about self, about what that self is, and I am this Jiva, that Jiva, all that opinions is because I am telling about opinion about objectifying that self. Self is self, that's all. I am pure. So anything that you add, even discussion is not, becomes of no consequence. So here, Swayam Jyotir Bhaved Yesha. And Asmat Akilat Puraha Bhasade. And this is there present even before anything else. And this is also from the Upanishadic statements. And here we have so many Upanishads here. And in this, here the reference is given from Swayam Jyoti Brahmana, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Then comes from the Mundaka Upanishad. There is a Narasimha Puratasani Upanishad. I never heard of that, but that's also being referenced. There is a Mundaka Upanishad, Kathopanishad, and Svetaswara Upanishad. All are, this is the Swayam Jyoti in the sense of it illumines. Tasya Vasa Sarvamidam Vivati. That sloka occurs in many Upanishads. So natatra suryo bhatena chandra tarakam nema vidyuto vanti kutoyam agni tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam bhati. So we are showing the arati in the temple. It says natatra suryo bhat. You don't need a sun to shine you, the moon to shine you, the electricity to shine you, stars to shine you. How can this lamp can shine you? We are seeing that in the light. But while seeing, we are seeing, because you are the light itself. I don't need this light to light. But because of you, only everything else is illumined. And tameva vantam, that's what is this third line is. Tameva vantam anveti tadbhasa bhasyate jagat. So because of your shining only, everything is shined. And therefore, every whole universe is shined because of that. So what does this imply to us? Whenever I see something, I am there. Right? Without me present, I cannot see anything. That means in every perception, I am there. Because I am conscious of this, that. So, when I am seeing the world, I have to pay attention to that because of which I am conscious of the world. I am that consciousness that is illumining this object, therefore I can see. That object I can see. So when I have to shift my attention, just as remember, for example, if I put my hand there, you are seeing my hand, but you are actually seeing the light reflected by the hand. So paying attention to the light and not the hand is meditation. So paying attention to the consciousness that is getting reflected in every knowledge, because I am conscious of this, I am conscious of that, I am conscious of that. That becomes my constant meditation. So now I don't have to close my eyes to meditate, right? Because every person I cannot but there, because there is never a time I'm not there. So, but what my problem is, I am paying attention to the more objects that are there. What is reflecting, I am paying attention and getting lost in the process, giving more reality to that objects than to the subject that I am. Because objects I can dismiss. I can use the objects in the transactions, but I cannot rely on the object. What is permanent and eternal is only I am. So, tameva bhantam anveti tadbhasa bhasyati bhagatu. So that which is because of which everything else is illumined, and that itself cannot be or need not be illumined. That consciousness that I am, I don't need another conscious entity to illumine me, because I am there all the time. So even deep sleep state I am there, but I am not conscious of that I am there in the deep sleep state, only because the mind is not there. Mind is folded. So what I need is, as an instrument for to prove my own existence, I need the mind. How? Because even though light is shining everywhere, you need the hand to see the light there. So without the hand, you cannot recognize, even though light is there, recognize the hand, recognize the light, presence of the light. In the same way, to recognize my own self, I need a mirror. To see my face, I need a mirror. So, hey, something is there in my nose. You say, how do I know? I have to go in front of the mirror to see, and through the mirror I can recognize my face. Same way, through the mind, I see a reflection of my face, and I can see, yes, that is I. So, I need the mirror to see myself. Same way, I need the mind to know myself. Because the knowledge, so it's not the mind absent or mind get destroyed, that's all wrong understanding. But it says, I need the mind to say I am not even the mind. Because even to communicate also I need the mind. Otherwise I'll be just in the deep sleep state, I am there. I am conscious of the absence of everything. Because I say I don't know. Because the mind says I don't know. But I was there to not know everything. Just like I entered the room, it says I don't see anything here. The same way, in the deep sleep state, I don't see anything, because there is no object for me to illumine there. When the mind is not there, all the thoughts, everything else is folded. So there is no the object also. So here, one is, it is self-effulgent, and it is self-existent entity, and all other things come later after the Atma, and all others are illumined by the Atma only. So all the four aspects are being covered in this. So there's actually meditation sloka in terms of understanding is meditation. Okay? Understanding and living in that understanding, applying that understanding. Okay, 7. Yanedam janate sarvam Yanedam janate sarvam tatkenanyena janatam tatkenanyena janatam vijñātāram kena vidyāt vijñātāram kena vidyāt shaktam vejjetu sadhanam shaktam vejjetu sadhanam. Together. Yenedam janate sarvam tatkenanyena janatam vijñātāram kena vidyāt shaktam vejjetu sadhanam. So it's essentially repeating this idea. Yena idam sarvam janati, that because of which the whole universe is known, because I know this, I know this, I know this, all my transactions is only knowing this, that, and because of which I know this, tat kena anyena janatam, that which cannot be known by anything else. So that because of which I know everything, but that which cannot be known by any other way, because it is need not be known by any other way, because it is self-knowing principle. So vijñātāram kena vidyāt, how can a knower be known? So how to know the knower? How to know the knower? I say, I am a knower. So how do you know yourself? I know myself. There is a period. There is nothing. I know myself. Everybody says, how question doesn't come, right? Because you don't need a means for me to know how, and all those things will not have to arise. So sadhanam tu vejje shaktam. So for that, a pramana can know only in something. Pramana means of knowledge can know something else. So I am a means of knowledge for everything else for me to know, but I cannot be known by any other means. That's why in the pitch dark room, when I say, are you there? I know I am there. So how do you know you are there? How do I know? That question cannot be answered because I know. So there is no light there. I can't see myself. I cannot say. I don't need perception. I don't need a logic. I don't need any means of pramana for me to establish myself, because I am self-existing some entity. So vijñātāram kena vidyāt. It is coming from the Kathopanishad statement. How can one know the knower? Because then if one want to know the knower, then knower has to become an object, and I am the one who is knower. So knower is now shifted to the subject now. So how the subject cannot become an object? This is what is essentially Kathopanishad. Subject is always a subject, and there is only one subject. There are not many subjects, because I am the only subject. From your point, you are the only subject. Because everything else is only object for you to perceive, to think everything else. You cannot see my consciousness. You can only see my body and so on. And you cannot even see my mind. You can deduce that I have a mind. So someone asked Swamiji, can you read other people's mind? A child was asking Swamiji, can you read other people's mind? Swamiji said, no, I can't read other people's mind. So you can't know what other people's mind is? No, I cannot know. But I can know what? If I love enough, they will tell me what is there in their mind. If I love them enough, they will tell me, then I know what is there in the mind. So I cannot read somebody's mind. Thank God we don't read, otherwise it will be a lot of problems. Reading other people's mind. So even my own mind I don't know sometimes, and it's what I don't need to know myself. I want to know. Self-knowledge is not I need to know myself. All I had to self-knowledge is dropping wrong notions about what I think I am. So essentially, self-knowledge is not I had to see something. It's then I am objectifying the self. People always say, yes, now I have studied Vedanta, now what should I do? I have to sit in meditation to realize Brahman. When is Brahman not there? If you have to sit only in the meditation and meditation only in Brahman, then outside is not there. It's not that, it is I had to drop the wrong notions about what is Brahman and what is I am and what is this world, and the dropping can only be done by knowledge only. Because wrong notions are there, wrong notions have to be dropped. Not that I had to experience the self, I had to empty myself, then I shall fill thee. Empty what? Empty my wrong notions, then I am what I am. That has to be clearly understood. Otherwise, there will be a lot of confusion in understanding. And one is looking for self-realization, and because it's in the looking for means I am already objectifying it. Like ring is looking for gold. What should he do? Just turn inwards and say, I am gold. That's period. Because think I am only ring, I am this and all that. That's wrong notions have to be dropped. Understand who I am. And that is self-revealing. Gold is, it doesn't have to do anything to become gold. It's already gold. So I am, says Nitya Mukta Swarupa. I am already liberated. Only my problem is I don't know. That's my problem. So this is again from the Upanishad, Vijñātaram kena vidyāt. We did that, where knower cannot be known. So this has to be applied in understanding the who am I and what is this world when you contemplate on it. So Sloka 18. Savetti vejyam tat sarvam. Savetti vejyam tat sarvam. Nānyas-tasyāsti vedita. Nānyas-tasya vedita. Vidita-viditabhyam tat. Vidita-viditabhyam tat. Prutak-bodha-swarupakam. Prutak-bodha-swarupakam. Savetti vejyam tat sarvam. Nānyas-tasyāsti vedita. Vidita-viditabhyam tat. Prutak-bodha-swarupakam. I'm just splitting so that it's... So, Saha Veti Vejyam Tat Sarvam. So, that which is Veti, that Atmas Sarvam Vejyam, that which knows everything, it knows, I know this, I know this. So, whenever I say I know this, so the whole world is existing, but the existence of the old world is established by the knowledge of my knowledge of that existence. That means if I say it is there, because I am conscious of that, it is there. So everything that I say is there, is there, is there, is brought to me as Nama and Rupa. Nama means name and Rupa is a form. So form is attributes of the object. Nama is name, naming is knowing. So when I know something, then only I say it exists. If I don't something, I don't know it exists or not. Right? So without me establishing the existence of an object, object's existence is indeterminate. So, sa veti vedyam tat sarvam, tat sarvam vedyam, that which is known by everything is known, is veti. It's that saha veti, he knows that. Tasya vedita anyana asti, and to know that there is nothing else, no other knower. Tat bodha swarupam, because it is of the nature of bodha swarupam, means it is atma, it is consciousness. It is of the nature of consciousness, and it is cannot be object for analysis or for knowing. It cannot, one cannot know. So what exactly is that? This is a now quotation from the Kenopanishad. Vidita avitabhyam prutak. Prutak is different from neither known or unknown. So what is that I am? I am, it is different from known and unknown. So how can that be? Because it is knowing principle because of which I know these things and I don't know these things. So I know all these things, this are known, and there are certain things I don't know all those things. But I am neither known, not an object that is already I know, or object that need to be known. So it is not something either known or unknown, but it is that because of which I know the knowns and I know the unknowns also. I know the unknowns also, yes. Remember? So do you know Gaga Boo? I don't know. What is Gaga Boo? How do you know that you don't know Gaga Boo? I know that I don't know Gaga Boo. So I know what I don't know also. Because that's the object of my knowledge. I know what I know also. You know chemistry? Yes, I know chemistry. So I know what I know and I know what I don't know also. Both are known and unknown, but I am the knowing principle because of which the known is known and the unknown is also known. Okay? That is Prutak, is different from Vidita Avidabhyam. Is from the Kenopanishad. So that is to be recognized. I am, that has to be recognized. So with all these teachings, one fellow says, I still cannot experience myself. So he is going to tell something for him. So this is a lot of us, in spite of all these tastings. So if you ask, have you realized yourself? He says, no. That means I don't know myself. Right? That's all. Everybody says, I don't know myself. I have not realized. So what is there to realize? I am there. Everything I know is I am there. So there is something blocking, obviously. But the problem is, in spite of this nowhere cannot be known, but is nowhere in every known also. So what I need, I am only shifting, I am hearing only, but not doing shifting the attention to the consciousness. You follow what the problem is? We are listening to the scriptures. Yes, now I know what. Scripture we know, what Vidyaranya says, but not able to shift our attention to that consciousness that I am. Where the problem is, I want to still experience, I want to sit in the meditation to experience this one. I have to empty everything else in order to see. I want to drop all my thoughts to see this one. If thoughts are a problem, that means I am giving reality to the thoughts as a problem. Then it will be a problem. You can never drop it. Because the more I give reality to it, anything, even to say that I have to give a reality that I am not realized, that means you will never be realized also. Why? Because I am not able to shift the attention to the consciousness that is there all the time, ever evident, ever present also. And therefore here he is trying to, after all this teaching of slokas and explaining with the Upanishad statement, he says, I still want to experience, I cannot experience. So he says, Bodhe pranubhavo yasya Bodhe pranubhavo yasya nakatascha na jayate tam katham bodhayeschastram loshtam narasamakrutim together. Bodhe pranubhavo yasya nakatascha na jayate tam katham bodhayeschastram loshtam sarasamakrutim. So bodhe api, although it is experience, yasya anubhavaha, to whom experience katham chana in way na jayate, it's not gain. Even though it is experience all the time, I am looking for still self-realization. That's what it says. How can it be? In what way it is not gained? So who is conscious of being all the time is not able to explain, is not able to experience his being consciousness. So who says, it is like, in fact, he is going to tell in the next sloka, he say, I don't have a tongue to speak. He says, I don't see consciousness. I don't recognize Brahman. I don't see Brahman. All these statements implies, obviously, is, when the next slide, I don't have a tongue to speak. Fellow says, I don't have a tongue to speak. The very statement implies he has a tongue to speak. So when I say, I am not seeing myself, I am not conscious of myself, he is conscious. Without the conscious, he cannot even say that. He is able to say and say, I am not able to conscious, and I have to sit in the meditation to recognize that is already there before he sits in the meditation. So therefore, it has to be understood clearly. Clarity in understanding is what is lacking here. Nakatam bodhayeschatram loshtam narasamakrutim. So narasamakrutim, the one who has taken, who is this human form, to this fellow who will keep negating and says, I don't know, I want to experience with after all this teaching, he calls him, this is a human being who has taken in the form, a lump of clay has taken in the form of a human being. This is actually sloka from the Naishkarmya Siddhi of, say, how can Shastra can teach you now? So Shastram kadambodayet, it keeps on repeating the same thing again and again, because it says, okay, keep thinking until you come back to me with a proper mind, because it's a problem of lacking purity of the mind here. So loshtam, narasa loshtam is essentially a lunch of mud in the form of says narasam akrutim narasam, says in the form of a human being is here. Clay example, I guess. So here essentially the teacher is getting disgusted, says, what can I say more on because it has to be realized anymore. So here in the next example, the example of the tongue is given. Jihva mesti na vechuktihi, Jihva mesti na vechuktihi, lajjaya kevalam yatha, lajjaya kevalam yatha, na bhujyati maya bodho, na bhujyati maya bodho, bodhavyam iti tadrusi, bodhavyam iti tadrusi. Together. Jihva mesti na chuktihi lajjayai na bhujyati maya bodho bodhavyam iti tadrusi. So, me jihva, this is my tongue, na astiva. So, I want to debate. Do I have a tongue or do I don't have a tongue? Fellow is asking a question. So, he says, so obviously he is speaking. So, Uktihi means Yatha Kevalam. He is talking and asking a question, do I have a tongue or don't I have a Astiva, Nastiva? Is a God is there or God is not there? Who is asking a person? A conscious entity is asking a person, right? And depends on, because he has a notion of what God is, that kind of God he is looking for. Obviously, he won't find that. So, what is there a God or not? Who is asking a question? A conscious entity alone is asking a question. And how do you define? Vedanta defines consciousness is Brahman. Wherever the consciousness, so you are conscious, therefore that is what it is. There is nothing else. So, asking a question whether I have a tongue or not is same as, says that because even to ask that question whether I have a tongue or not, I need a tongue. So, Uktihi, by the speech itself involves, says Jihva, and very speech itself proves that he has the tongue. So it says, therefore, asking that question says, it is lajjaya, it is actually, it is a cause to be ashamed, like to ask that kind of question. In the same way, saying that there is no God is essentially a shameful statement, because either he understands what is God, nor he is saying exactly what implication of God, because he is there, very existence is due to God. He is alive, the life itself is, the presence of the life is due to that, and that need to be understood. Because he has wrong notions about what God is, and he is denying that kind of notional God, but he should first understand what God is. This I find even in the JK's. People are worried about God. He criticizes the scriptures and gods and all that. And at least people who have notions about God as conditioned. But here, we have to understand what exactly. We are conditioned to think God is up in the sky, then that kind of God is not there. We are conditioned to think God is in the temple, that kind of God is not there. So scripture takes to a person to that, says what you are praying is not really God, but because of which you are able to pray, that is God, right? That which is what you see is God. Na chakshusha pasyati, that because of which you are able to see, that is Brahman. So I need to have a clear teaching and recognition of that process using the teaching, and that is what is to be done. So we're going to stop here and start from 21 on, because next one is epistemological analysis is going to talk, and with this we'll stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. 1 minute, let me stop this.